last week's technical difficulties. We got a really exciting webinar for you. It's 3 secrets to even more committed corrective care and lifetime patients without selling, convincing, or being gimmicky. So everybody knows, I mean, we've all been in a report of findings, right? Where someone has objections, you're giving them information, you're sitting there talking to them like, come on, why aren't they getting it? And then more information and another objection, and you're handling this, and then all of a sudden you're telling them what they need, right? And the more convincing you do, not only is that frustrating, but then you get that awkward moment where convincing becomes selling. And then it's like, my God, I mean, we're all on this webinar. Why? Because chiropractic is the best thing for humanity, and we're sitting here trying to talk people into it. That doesn't make any sense, right? And then I have doctors call me all the time, where they bring them in for one reason, like, let's do a massage, like with Groupon. I mean, I'm not judging it, but doctors say, you know what? I feel gimmicky. I feel like I'm trying to talk people into it. So the reason we're giving this webinar is I don't ever want you to have that feeling of frustration. You should never feel like you're convincing or selling or being gimmicky or reducing the value. So this webinar is going to show you how you don't ever have to feel that way anymore. So I appreciate you being on here. So what are you going to learn tonight? You're going to learn how patients' objections are really belief systems. You're going to learn how the beliefs of you and your team are keeping you held back at the level of your practice right now. You're also going to see why, after 123 years in this profession, why only 4.2 of Americans think that chiropractic is a healthcare system. I mean, 123 years, 4.2%. How are we doing? So in the next 60 to 90 minutes, you're going to get a total perspective shift on how you want to communicate chiropractic and how you can create more lifetime patients than ever before. So I'm going to be looking over here to my PowerPoint a little bit. So when I got out of school, it was 1987. I went to LACC. I mean, shoot, it's 30 years now, right? But when I came out, I don't know if it was fear or a bunch of purpose, but I just wanted to get my hands on people, as many people as possible. So I had no idea about communication. So I just wanted to adjust people. So I would charge them $150 a month to come 12 times. Okay, if we do higher math here, that's $12.50 an adjustment. How many people, raise your hand besides me, have ever felt like a nonprofit organization, right? And so that was it. I mean, we had no idea how to create value or how to communicate. So right away, I figured I need a coach. So you pay thousands of dollars, you hire a coach, and what's the first thing they give you is they give you a script book. So I'm reading through the script book, and what did I learn? Number one, I'm not really that good at memorizing scripts. That was number one. Number two, there were things in there that didn't really resonate with me. So my coach said, first thing, when you walk into any room, as soon as you shake their hand, you got to tell them your mission statement. So that was, we adjusted, and it was their mission statement of the group. We adjust as many families as possible towards optimal health. Well, that was great if they were a stay-at-home mother of 4. But the other 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 people would look at you weird. So you walk in there, hey, Jim, we adjust as many families towards optimal health as possible. And then Jim is a 24-year-old college student. He's 45 years old and he's divorced. He doesn't care. He's just in there at work and his back hurts. And so at least 7 out of 10 would look at me weird. So I go to my coach. You guys have probably been there. I go to my coach. People are looking at me weird. You have to say it anyway. Just say this, right? And then, so I go, fine, I'll follow the script. And then I noticed, if I'm saying the same thing to everybody, I'm using the same script on everybody, why does one person get it and another person doesn't get it? Why does that happen? I mean, I'm saying the same thing. Why does one person get it over here and another person doesn't get it over here? And then it hit me. That's the problem. The problem was I was saying the same thing to every person, and there's different personality types. So I certainly, after 11 years, discovered the hard way to do it. Okay, that was the hard way. And the hard way with that system got me about 30% prepay, with maybe, so out of 10, 3 would prepay for credit care, and I could get 15 to 20% to commit to care. They probably make payments. And so I figured, you know what? I'm done. Then one day I had a new patient walk in. It was a middle-aged, 45-year-old businesswoman walks in. She's sitting in the exam room And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I kicked my feet up on the desk and I said, what am I going to say? I know what I'm not going to say, right? So what am I going to say? I thought of about 8 points. I went in there and I delivered it. And she said, at the end of that 3.5 minutes, she said, so what you're telling me is my spine controls my overall health. And ding, 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 the lights went off. And I went, oh my God, I'm on to something big. So I spent the next 4 years. I'm like, you know what? I'm going outside of chiropractic. I spent the next 4 years studying NLP. I studied life coaching. I read Cialdini's books on human behavior. I started incorporating human behavior into our patient management system. I found out that if you want to change the way people live their life, then you have to change their belief system. I started changing what people believed. And what I saw was in 5 months, 30% prepay went to 70% prepay. And I still had the 15 to 20% that went on payment programs. Our practice went up 100 visits a day in 5 months with no marketing. I didn't do any marketing. Like literally in 5 months, our practice went through the roof and it became easy. Why? Because I learned how to change people's belief system. Went from a 40 PBA, which in corrective care, that's the first phase of care, to a 70 PBA. And that includes people that didn't commit at all. So they were either out in the first week or they stayed for 100 visits. So it's like, 10, 15% were out of the first week and the other 85 or so percent, boom, they were in for 100 visits. So automatically growth became easy and it was great. So one day I looked at my schedule, there was a bunch of people on it and I said, man, I can't keep this gift, and I prayed and I said, show me what I'm supposed to do next. A year and a half later, I was coaching. Now get this. When I started coaching chiropractors, I started telling them what to do. Like, here, just do this. But the problem was their belief systems got in the way. And so then I started studying more NLP and more life coaching. And it's been 16 years immersed in the science of human behavior to learn how to clear limiting beliefs, not just teaching you how to do it with patients, but teaching you how to do it with yourself and your team. And what we found was now we created these boot camps and we see in the last couple of years, over 200 doctors went through this and they increased their commitment to care 30 to 50% at the rate of 93.6% success rate in 90 days. So what's that mean? You have about a 94% that you can increase commitment to care 3 to 5 people out of 10. Okay, 94%, and that can happen within 90 days. So my question is, would you like to see how to do things the easy way? So, if you're standing in front of 2 big doors and they open, imagine you're standing there and 2 big doors open up. Here's a new opportunity, right? A whole new mindset to be able to look how you communicate chiropractic, right? And look how you change belief systems in people and see, man, this is going to expand your consciousness right here. And what's this new opportunity do? Well, imagine if you're on a hike and you have a backpack and you're coming up to it and you have a mountain, you're hiking in the mountains, right? This is like your practice. What's that hike? Hey, handling people's objections. What else is it? Your front desk person gets pregnant, goes on leave. We have all these problems, right? The economy changes, insurance changes. We have all these things. You are on the hike. My question is do you want to do it the easy way? Do you want to hike up that mountain and up these challenges? Or do you want to take a gondola? Because that's the easy way. It's like you don't have to hack your way through the trees and the bush, right? And climb up rocks. You can take a gondola. We've all been on those if you've been skiing before. On a gondola, and you can look down at all the gnarly terrain. That gnarly terrain are patients' objections, right? You can be above there and fly right over them when you learn how to change beliefs. So are we going to continue to hike up that mountain? Or do you just want to get the ticket to be on the gondola? Because it's just a lot easier. So here's really a great question that's going to start all this. Do your patients use chiropractic? So what does using chiropractic look like? Well, do they quit when they're out of pain? They come 12 visits. In corrective care, do they quit after the first phase of correction? So if they get 50% correction, do they say, you know what, doc, man, I don't have the money, I don't have this. What's the patient that uses chiropractic? Doc, I can't afford it. Man, look at my new car out in the parking lot. Doc, I can't afford it. By the way, we're going on this vacation. Doc, I can't afford it. Man, we're buying a new house. I mean, how many times? That's a patient that uses chiropractic as opposed to a patient that believes chiropractic. Now, we are chiropractic believers. How do you know that? Because if I'm tired or you feel sick or, not just your back hurts, but, you have mental fog, you're just a little mentally fogged. What do you say? I need to get adjusted, right? That's a person that believes chiropractic. Person that uses chiropractic calls in and says, doc, I have the flu, I'm not coming in, but they drive to the MD to get prescription drugs, or they go to Rite Aid or whatever that store is. Now, when you have believers, why is that important? Because people live what they believe. They live what they believe. How do we know that? Well, first of all, there's countries, millions of people over time have gotten killed and slaughtered over religious beliefs, right? You can find whatever you believe, you can find research. I mean, there's research that say vaccinations are good for you. There's research that says you can go to a massage therapist and get the same result with back pain as chiropractic, right? Or you can get tons of research that say vaccination causes autism and sudden infant death. You can find tons of research that says chiropractic can change your health. I mean, it's all over the place. Medical research says chiropractic says that tension on the cord weakens the immune system. So if we live what we believe, and you want your patients to live a chiropractic lifestyle, then we have a responsibility to change what they believe. So here's the one big domino idea, right? If we push this one over, everything else gets easy. Here's the big idea. It's connection before correction. Connection before correction. Now, what's connection? It's not whether or not a person likes you. Connection is not liking someone. Connection is not rapport. Connection is aligning beliefs. That's what it is. Connection, true connection, is aligning beliefs. When we align beliefs, then we have a deeper relationship. Okay? Now, if you look at your friends, you hang out with your friends, you probably have similar beliefs. You can run into somebody in a social environment, a party, have totally different beliefs and think they're a nice person, but you're probably not going to hang out with them. You know what I mean? You're probably not going to mix your lives together, mix your kids together if they have totally different beliefs. So connection happens when you align beliefs. Then when you do that, you have the opportunity for correction. Now, I apologize for not having my PowerPoint up here. So one testimonial here, I bumped into this guy at CBP. I didn't bump into him, but I chatted with him about Elite. This was a few years ago. And his name was Dr. Chris Hagan. And he said, you know what? I need to learn CBP because if I'm going to, tell people I can fix them, I need to be good at technique first. So we went through basic certification, went through advanced certification. And what did he discover? First of all, he came up to me and said, I love the fact that your program and patient management system is all about the science of behavior. Because when we align the science of behavior with the science of spinal correction, man, that's the best model, but I need to learn the technique first. So we learned the technique, became advanced certified, and what did he find? Regardless of advanced certification, there were some patients that still didn't commit. So he felt he was left unfulfilled. So he finally calls me, goes to the boot camp, goes and then sees he's the most technologically advanced person in the boot camp. Okay, but what he's finding, because when you go to Elite, people talk about corrections, that's our primary core model. He's finding that people are getting as good at corrections as he is, but they have bigger practices. They're getting more patient commitments. And so after he comes back and tells me this, I gave this PowerPoint talk at New Jersey CBP a couple of weeks ago. And I said, Chris, if there was one thing you wanted me to tell people, spinal corrective doctors, what would it be? And he said, the technique is only as effective as the patient commitment to care. Isn't that true? Does corrective technique work on a patient that quits when they're out of pain? Does it work when they go through one phase of care if they need two phases of care? Do you really want to create more lifetime patients? That's it, man. The top certified people in the world, technical best, says learn how to communicate. So what I'm going to show you tonight, is how to invest $10,779. When you make that investment in a year, you can turn that into $110,779. And I'm going to show you a number of examples. I'm going to talk about those. So if you had $11,000 and you can invest that and make $111,000 in a year or less, would that be a good investment? What would Warren Buffett say about that? You can make 10 times your investment. What would that be? So what we're going to do is show you a little bit how. So let's start with where is the profession in the stats today? The average patient commitment to care across profession is 20 to 50%. That means 2 to 5 commit to care. Now, when I went through management groups, I had 30% prepay and about 15 to 20% we get on payment. So I was about 45 to 50% commitment to care. What's that mean? You have to continually market. Why? Because people are going out the door. So that means 5 to 8 new patients are walking out of the door minimally when they're out of pain, if they even commit at all. That's the average. Okay. Now, what's the average PVA? The average PVA across the profession is 18. 18 PVA. What's that mean? That's basically the whole profession is geared towards pain care. That's the average. Now, are there people that are going to be a lot more than that? Of course there are. You know, you can say, well, I'm way better than that. And I'm sure you are, no question. The question is, what percent are becoming lifetime patients? So that's the average. 2 to 5 out of 10 commit, 18 PVA. Why is that? Well, if we look at different personality types, we have innovators and early adapters. Innovators about 2.5%. Those are the people, man, all you got to do is tell them you're the latest, greatest, got the best technique. Boom, 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 boom. They're in. Those are the people that sleep on the sidewalk. They're going to get the next iPhone 15, right? Or the watch. The early adapters, 13.5. That's a total of 16%. Man, those are the people sleeping on the sidewalk. Okay, the early majority is the next 34%. Those people say, you know what? I'm going to wait a week. I'm not sleeping on the freaking sidewalk because in 2 weeks, it's going to be, not only do I not have to sleep on the pavement, but it's going to be a little bit cheaper. I can just go into an Apple store. I can go into AT&T store or whatever, and I can just pick up a phone. Right? Now, those people have objections. So 16 plus 34, higher math, 50%. So 20 to 50%. The 20%, those are people you don't need to be a good communicator. Those are people that just love chiropractic. They love something new. 34%, they have an objection. So they don't just jump in. They jump in pretty soon, but you're probably going to have to handle objections. So if you're a really good communicator and you're all fired up on purpose, you can get up to 50%. The late majority, that's the next 34%. Those are people, they don't jump in. They're skeptical. They have all kinds of objections. What's my insurance cover? I want a second opinion. I don't trust you. I've done this before. Here's the problem. The difference between 50 and 84% is your purpose. That's your vision. That's your dream practice. That's your fulfillment of your purpose. But those people have objections. Why is it 20 to 50%? Because you don't have to be a professional communicator. You don't have to change a person's belief systems for 20 to 50%. For the next 34%, you have to understand personalities. You got to understand how to change beliefs. Those people need professional communication. You need to get those, you need professional communication. The problem is that that's also where your purpose is. The difference between 50 and 84%. The last 16%, those are laggards. I mean, you don't even have to worry about those. Those people probably aren't going to do anything. Now, here's what we see in elite. Because this is based on the science of human behavior, and I'm going to show you this, we see 70 to 84% commit to care. So when we look at a bell curve, the bell curve of elite people that go through the boot camps and the training, They get 70 to 84% commitment to care. That's well in the late majority because they learn how to change belief systems. Now, when we look at lifetime patients, 70 to 84% commit to care. Now, there's people that do the whole system, they get even more. Okay. So they're getting into the laggards. Then we have 78 to 86% of those that commit to corrective care move into lifetime care. So you're getting 8 out of 10 commit to care. That's the bell curve. 8 out of 10 go into lifetime care. 8 out of 10 of those. That's how growth becomes easy. Now, would you like to learn how to do that? Okay, that's really what this is about. Tony Robbins, one of the top business coaches in the world. He's known as one of the top business coaches of the world. Basically, his theory is if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is model those that are already successful. If someone's already doing what you want to do, just do what they do. Okay, I just went outside of chiropractic to find it. So here's an example of a doctor, Dr. Ben Gillis. Didn't know anything about CBP. Ben, he's probably on this webinar or listening to it. Louis Godstetter says, you know what? I'm signing up for Elite. So he didn't just invest 11, he invested $20,000. Goes through the boot camps, goes through the coaching, grew his practice 50% in 90 days. Boom. Okay. How does that happen? Because when you change beliefs, people line up and they bring people with them. He had all referrals. There was no marketing to grow 50%. We changed the belief systems in a team, developed an empowered team, and increased his collections over 200,000 in the first year. So first year went up about 250,000, invested 20,000 for 200,000. That means he made his investment back pretty close to the first month, and then everything else was profit. I mean, that's just money, but 250,000, how many people's lives? And those people became lifetime patients. Chris DiCarlo, Lauren Micalcio. I talked to Chris for 3 years. Chris, you're probably watching this too, and Lauren. They increased their practice, went to the boot camps, joined in the coaching, invested $20,000, increased their practice 50% in 90 days. Remember, we said 93.6 increase 30 to 50% in 90 days. 93.6%. Well, they were one of them. Increased their practice 50% within 90 days. They increased their collections over 200,000. So they invested 20, went over 200, and they went 80% cash in that year. So not only did they drop insurance, they went 80% cash and still increased their collections over 200,000. That's what happens when you change beliefs. In the last 18 months, now they've been in there, I think, I don't know, 4 years, maybe 5 years now. In the last 18 months, they've created over 300. Last time I heard, this was last week, 311 lifetime patients. Okay, how's that? Does growth become easy? Now they're the elite coaches. Practice is fun again. They're the coaches that when you go to the boot camps, they're going to teach you, and in the elite system, how to create lifetime patients, how to do what they do. Dr. Corey and Shayla Oldham, you're probably on this phone, Corey, on this webinar. Increased their practice 60%, doubled their income within 6 months. They were in an old management group, focused on pain care, talked about things. I'm going to show you why that doesn't work. Increased practice within 6 months. They have a referral-only practice, 60%, doubled their income in 6 months. Now, how does that happen? See, these things like, oh my God, how do you do that? Well, remember when the 4-minute mile was broken? Everybody thought it was humanly impossible to break the 4-minute mile. 4-minute mile was broken. You shift the consciousness of the people. Now high schoolers break the 4-minute mile. This is like saying, if you said today, nobody can break the 4-minute mile, other people look at, what are you, crazy? People are doing it all the time. There's a new reality that's not going through the profession. Okay? Because it wasn't studied on human behavior. He's also an elite coach. So this is a new opportunity. Do you want to hike up the mountain or do you want to take the gondola? Because the longer patients stay, the more you get to play. What's that mean? The longer they stay, the more you play. Why? Because they're easier. Our lifetime patients easier. You don't have to work hard. Always having a market for new patients, that's hard work. Growth can be easy. So who is this webinar good for? Well, first of all, it's good for doctors that want to do spinal correction, which I'm going to show you how to change that belief, right? So people know, patients know they want full spinal correction. It's also doctors who want to create the most lifetime patients. This is based on human behavior. If your goal is create lifetime patients, then I'm going to show you in this webinar exactly how and why you do this principle. Also, doctors who don't want to rely on marketing. All these people that grew in 90 days at 93.6, they didn't do it with marketing. In fact, they fired their PR people. They didn't do any marketing. But when you create believers, man, they are fired up. They bring people with them. You know, when someone believes in something, they're inspired to tell other people. And doctors who want growth and reaching their goal to be easy. When you create believers, it becomes easy, gang. If you got to work hard, then there's something in your systems that aren't working. So let's look at where we are today. Not only is it 20 to 50% in an 18 PVA, let's look at the general public, because in 2015, Gallup did a study. In that year, 14% of Americans went to chiropractors. 14%. So here we are. That was 120 years at the time, 14%. We haven't even reached tipping point. So what they did was, now they polled all of America, and they said, we're going to give you, if you have back pain, we're going to give you 5 choices of healthcare systems where you can get, where you think the best place to get rid of neck and back pain. Guess what? 54%, that's over half, said they would go to a medical doctor. So here we are, 123 years later, more than half of Americans say they would still go to a medical doctor for neck and back pain. So what's that mean? What's one of the most common objections? I want a second opinion. Oh my God, look at my body language. Are you tired of hearing, I want a second opinion? Are you tired of hearing that? Now that's when you start convincing and you start selling. If you don't, not only don't know how to handle that objection, but you didn't change your belief systems to begin with. So here's a major premise here. All objections are a belief system. Okay, so let's look at some potential objections that aren't real objections. They're actually belief systems. Number one, this is a real common one. I can't afford it. That's a belief system. Why? Because, hey, for those people that live in winter, if you're living in Michigan and it's friggin' 10 below zero, you're in a blizzard and your hot water heater blew out, would you tell your wife, honey, you know, we really can't afford this? Or would you find a way to make that happen, right? So we look at Chris and Lauren and we say we can't afford it. They have, for one phase of corrective care, $3,600. For a second phase, another $3,600, then $60 a week for lifetime. So that means they have 85% commitment to care. That means 85% are paying $7,600. 92%, I believe it was 92%, are going in lifetime care. That means patients are paying about $10,000. Now, guess what? 3 weeks ago, Chris heard on the news that in their county, 62% of their population is on welfare, right? So you got 62% on welfare, yet they're seeing over 300 a week, 85% commit to care, 92% commit to lifetime care, $10,000 investment. They can afford it. There's a bunch of people that can afford it. Now, again, people are on the phone thinking, oh my God, how do you even do that? I can't believe it, right? Because that's your belief system. And so where do those belief systems start is really the question. That's one, I can't afford it. Yes, I can. What's another one? Time and money. I don't have time. Well, how come then we have the mantra, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person. Time is a priority. When they say they don't have time, people make time for things they want and things they value and things they care about. You just didn't show them why. So that's the problem. That's a belief system. What's my insurance cover? People believe they should use their insurance. Well, we all know insurance isn't going to cover corrective care. That's a belief system. How about I don't believe in chiropractic? That's a belief system. How about my spouse can't make it? That's a belief system. Well, they have to work. Okay, well, how many times do they leave early to go on a 3-day weekend? You know, how many times do they take a day off of work for something they really want? That's a belief system. How about I have to think about it for 24 hours? That's a belief system. How about we don't use credit cards? That's a belief system. So when you see that objections are not barriers, they are belief systems, and you learn how to clear and change belief systems, then you don't even run into those objections. The problem is, and this is the big eye opener, new opportunity, is you haven't been trained. You haven't been trained to change belief systems. You've been trained to show x-rays. You've been trained to give information. You've been trained to wear the white coat and the pocket protector and be a doctor. You've been trained on the principle. You haven't been trained on how to change belief systems. That's why we run into this. That's why it's 20 to 50%. That's why we can get the innovators in the early majority, but we're not, as a profession, getting the late majority. That's why it's only 4.2% that actually understand the principle. So what's secret number one? Because we said we're going to give you 3 secrets, right? How many secrets? Now here's secret number 1. How getting multiple agreements will make decisions easier without handling objections. So how do you change beliefs? You change beliefs through multiple agreements. Now, we all know small agreements lead to big agreements, right? So right in our pre-consultation, in the first 3.5 minutes, we have 14 agreements that get a person to understand how their whole spine and posture affect their health, to get them to understand they actually agree that I may have a whole spine problem. They actually agree that it may be affecting my organs and my overall health. 14 agreements. By the time you talk about organ problems, get health problems, there's another 15 to 18 agreements. So on day 1, we're getting up to 60 agreements. 60 agreements in 30 minutes. That's how you change people. Now let's look at the science. So here's the secret. It doesn't matter what you say. It matters what they say. It doesn't matter what you say. It matters what they say. They don't believe what you say. But if you want to change their beliefs, they have to say it. Now, how do we know this? Because this is a science of human behavior. It's called commitment and consistency. This is straight from Cialdini. And what's commitment and consistency say? An action or a decision, when a person makes an action or decision, I mean, they come into agreement, it's essential. What is it? It's essential for them to behave that way. In other words, when they agree to something, they have to behave in a way that's consistent with their agreement. Now, they did a study. It was called the beach study, something like that, where they put a beach towel down and they had a woman come there and put her purse down. And then she walked away and another person in the study came and stole her purse. Nobody said anything. Then they go to another part of the beach, put their towel down, and they put the purse down, belongings down, and they asked the person next to them, "Can you watch my belongings?" Now, when the same person came to steal it, it was over 90% of the time, the person that made the agreement took an action. Why? So what did they discover? When a person makes an agreement, they have to act consistent with that agreement. If you want to avoid, I can't afford it, I don't have time, what's my insurance cover? I have to think about it for 24 hours. All this stuff, it's because you didn't get those multiple agreements. You gave them information. You told them what to think. You didn't get them to agree and teach them how to think. So we have a quick 5 steps. I'm going to go through these quickly. That eliminates that eliminates objections before they happen. They change beliefs. This is straight from Tony Robbins, Mastering Influence. These are 5 steps. How many steps? Say 5. 5 steps that eliminate belief systems. Number 1, that I adapted to chiropractic. On day 1 of the consultation exam, they have to say, "I have a full spine problem." Now, what beliefs is that clear? "Doc, crack my back." Why would they say crack my back? I'm just here for my pain. If they truly believe their whole spine is subluxated. What's the second step? That gets common reality. Second step, they have to say, "I don't want to be like this anymore." Now, that is human behavior that says when you say, "I'm done," you make a must decision. "I'm changing my life right now. I don't want to be like this anymore." Now, we show you in day 1, day 2, how to lead people to that. When they say, "I don't want to believe that I don't want to be like this anymore," they take emotional motion. What's that mean? They take action to change their life. They have to say that. If they don't say it, what are they going to say? Doc cracked my back. Why? Because I've already been to a chiropractor's. Jock, it's just right here. My wife couldn't get it. That's a belief system. So I have to say, number one, my whole spine is weak. Number two, I don't want to be like this anymore. What's number three? You have to eliminate other options. So if someone's been to another chiropractor just for back pain, you lead when they say, I don't want to be like this anymore. Then you say, are you done going to chiropractors, that they only give you short-term benefits? Are you done getting short-term benefits for long-term consequences on losing your health? So they have to say, I'm not going to do pain care. I'm done. I don't want to be like this anymore. If a person's been to multiple doctors, they have to say, I'm done going to physical therapy. None of that stuff worked. I'm not going to do it anymore. Because what you learn in the boot camps is people get wired. Have you ever noticed people make the same decisions that, they're like, gee, I think I'll go back to a physical therapist when 5 minutes ago you said it didn't work. So not only have to say I have a full spine problem, I don't want to be like this anymore, they have to say I'm not doing what I've done before. Now they're ready to take positive action. What's the positive action? They have to know what they want. People don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. So they have to know the life they want. They have to know the level of health they want that's not related to pain. It can't be related to pain. It's got to be an overall health picture. Once they know what they want, right? Then what do? We show them a stress x-ray. You got to prove the correction potential x-ray. Then when they see, wow, this can actually be fixed, it takes out the trust. Will this really work? Because you show them. Now they see, they have objective evidence that they can change. When you take people through these 5 steps, we show you at the boot camp how to do this. You actually eliminate objections. They don't even have to happen. Then I can't afford it. Then I don't have time. Then what's my insurance cover? Then I have to think about it for all that stuff is eliminated because they've come to must decisions. Now, when we've showed people how to get multiple agreements, how to take them through 5 steps. Here's another example. Miles Fortner, right out of school, he was a certified CBP out of Parker. A year and a half later, he calls me, Fred, I've known you. My God, I'm struggling. What was he doing? He was collecting $12,000 a month. Okay, so when your overhead is 10 to 12,000, you got a wife and 2 kids, groceries might be a little bit tough, right? He was seeing 60 people a week. He calls me, he finds $20,000. Makes it okay. Here you think, oh my God, I can't afford that, right? That's our belief. And some people say, I can't afford not to do it. Miles said, I can't afford not to do it. I'm not fulfilling my purpose as a CBP doc. In the first year of coaching, he went from 60 a week to 150 to 180 a week. And he went from 12,000 a month to 60,000 a month. So he found $20,000. His income went up $48,000 per month. Is that a good investment? Okay, he learned how to change belief systems. Nona Javid, I met her when she was an associate, 2 months out of school, renting a room in somebody's office. She signs up with Elite, literally coming out of school knowing nothing, right? Just the way I was, knowing nothing. And in a year, she has her own practice. She borrowed $20,000 from her dad. So she didn't have money, student right out of school. Borrows $20,000 from her dad, a year out of practice, owns her own clinic. In the next 18 months after that, she collected over $500,000. That's what changing beliefs does. So you take a student, you can take basically someone fresh out of school, like Nona and Miles, that really don't know anything about communication, and you can turn them into a $500,000+ practice in a year and a half. What can that do for you that already knows something, that already has a practice? Right? So now that's secret number 1. What's secret number 2? What number? Number 2. See, I smashed my finger here. You guys looking at that? Okay. Secret number 2 is now we have to identify what are your beliefs and your team's beliefs that are preventing you from easily growing your practice, preventing your retention, and really taking some of the fun out of it. I'm sure you're having fun, but if it was easy and you could double your retention and create more lifetime patients, would it be more fun and easy and rewarding? So what's secret number 2? What are your beliefs? Because your beliefs and your team beliefs are what's stopping. Well, what's one of them? It's my area. People call me and they go, Fred, I'm stuck. I know it's not my area. I know I shouldn't say that, but it's really my area. And I'm like, okay, that's funny because you just said, it's not your area. And the next thing you said, it's my area. Well, it's the financial demographic. Well, tell that to Chris DiCarlo because you got people paying 10 grand with 62% welfare. So if you're in a town of less than 62% welfare, is it really your area? Right? What's another one? People can't afford it. Well, look at all these people that grew from 12,000 a month. I bet Miles thought people couldn't afford it. Right? 60,000 a month, everybody can afford it. Chris and Lauren, Ben Gillis, all these people, can people afford it? That's our belief. The thing is, because we have that belief system, not only do we project that on them, but we don't even know how to change their beliefs. If we can't change our beliefs, how are we going to learn to change their beliefs? So that's why you hear, I can't afford it. Well, they live too far. I mean, how many times do we hear that? Well, there's CBP people that fly from across the world, pay $3,000 for 2 weeks of care. So live too far. I mean, with home care, people can get better. People want to use their insurance. Well, they might want to use their insurance, but they don't have to use their insurance. Nona, she lives in Newport Beach. That's an affluent area. People have owned companies that have their own insurance, all cash, doesn't have insurance. I can name practice after practice after practice after practice, and you might be all cash. So, it's not the insurance, it's your ability to change beliefs that make people want to invest, right? Look at plastic surgeons. Hey, I live in Newport Beach, Corona Del Mar. There's tons of plastic surgery. Guess what? That's an elective surgery. Insurance doesn't cover. There's people that are buying and doing things that insurance doesn't cover. How about if I grow, it's going to be more work? Well, if you do spinal correction and rehab, but the reality is if you have more lifetime patients, growth should be easier. How about I don't want to be salesy? Now, people say this all the time. I don't want to scare people. I don't want to use scare tactics. Well, you know why people use scare tactics? Because coaching groups haven't learned and taught you to change beliefs. And I'm going to show that to you in secret number 3. Because they haven't, then the people feel like they have to use scare tactics to create a pattern interruption so people make a must decision. But we don't want to do that. Chiropractic is not about scaring people. It's about empowering people. So rather than using consequences, that's why it's 20 to 50%, let's use empowerment. Let's study self-empowerment communication. That's what changing beliefs is. How about I have to learn technique first? Well, I think we already covered that. Now, the problem is doctors adapt their systems to their beliefs. So what do? They find ways to discount their care. Why? Because people can't afford it. Well, I used to teach a workshop, but I couldn't get people to go there, so we don't teach a workshop anymore. So rather than change their communication, they've adapted their systems, and now they get stuck. So the limiting beliefs and language and patterns of you and your team is what holds back long-term retention. It holds back growth and it holds back retention is your own belief systems. Now, here's some emotional triggers that still hold us back. This is still secret number 2. What holds us back? Now, here's the important thing. When I found this out, when I saw that doctors and teams' belief systems were what was holding people back, and we incorporated this into the boot camp, we started clearing belief systems. Man, growth, it becomes easy. And that's really it. When we get rid of our beliefs, right? We not only do we not project those beliefs on other people, we project empowerment, right? And we change our beliefs, other people's beliefs change. So what beliefs hold us back? Growth is more work. Well, growth should actually be easier. And if growth is more work, then you have systems that aren't serving you. Because I'll teach you, all those people, 93.6% can grow 30 to 50% in 90 days. That's easy growth. Okay, that's not hard growth. That's easy growth because they don't even market anymore. Now, some people say, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a guy. He goes, you know what? I'm already successful. I don't need it. But the problem is he was burned out, right? Why was he burned out? Because I'm continually having a market. Why am I burned out? Because I'm talking pain care. Why am I burned out? Because people quit. Why am I burned out? Because people start care and then they stop care. But you're successful. You're just not fulfilled. So if you're successful, do you need to do this? No, you don't need to do it. The problem is that person that quit is subluxated. So here, who's your commitment to? Are you committed to your success? I mean, you want to be committed to that, or are you committed to the patience? Are you committed? There's a difference between, excuse me, success and fulfillment. Success is great. People can look around and say, I'm successful, but there's something in here that's not filled. That's fulfillment. So, no, you don't need it if you're successful, but do you want to be fulfilled? Do you want to help people on a higher level? So, success and fulfillment are different. What's another one? I can't afford it. So there's people that say, you know what, I have the money, I can't afford it. Well, look at Miles, 12,000 a month, he can afford it. Look at Nona, she couldn't afford it. And it's funny because the reason that one person will not make a move, meaning I can't afford it, is the exact reason why another person will make a move. So I can't afford it stops one person, and I can't afford it is the reason why I have to do it. Isn't that fascinating? So, number one, if you believe that and you're not willing to invest in yourself, I mean, here you're investing time, then if you're not willing to invest in yourself, it's hard to get other people to want to invest in themselves. And what's your reason? So, Dr. Chris Miners called me. This is another example. He called me up, man, I'm desperate, and I told him about the coaching. He goes, I don't have any money. He goes, I have $1,000. That's all I have. And I told him, Chris, if you invest your last $1,000, then I guarantee you're going to have the money to make your next payment. He goes, I have no idea where my next monthly payment's going to come from. I told him, because you make that, you're going to, I mean, you do this system, bust your ass on the communication and work with me, and at least get the first script down, you're going to make that. So in faith, he said, okay, I'm giving you my last $1,000. Now here's a dude that really couldn't afford it, right? Now, guess what happened? He went to the boot camp, got immersed in the coaching. He was going to invest 24 because that's financing. He was ready to invest 24. He gave his last $1,000. In 90 days, he paid off the whole $20,000 in 90 days. Okay. Not only did he make his second payment, he paid for the whole thing. Then in the first year, this is all the first year, obviously, first 90 days. In the first year, he became CVP certified, expanded his clinic, filled it with CVP equipment. That's still in the first year after he paid that off. Then he bought a new house in the first year. So not only did he give his last $1,000, he paid off the coaching program, expanded his clinic, and bought a new house, all in the first year of care. Every Friday, he would finish his shift and he would call me and thank me. Changed his life. Now, this isn't about me, gang. I don't take the credit. What I did is I guided him. Chris did the work. But what did he do? He invested his last $1,000 in a system that guaranteed results. Another CVP, Samantha Coleman, she's 160 a week. Here's a girl, a woman, already successful, 160 a week. She can pay her bills. We said, I need systems. All I want is to get over 200. I've always wanted 200. I'm stuck at 160. So what'd she invest? $20,000. What happens? Grew 40% in the first year. She goes from 160. Now, a few weeks ago, she may even be higher now. She had 268. So from 160, 268, and her practice runs smoother and easier at 260 than it did at 160. Why? Because she had to adapt her systems. Her systems at 160 were a struggle. Her systems at 260 are easy. She's not working hard, right? Kyle Fogel. Kyle, you'll probably listen to this. Here's another one. Stuck in 120 a week, not getting great commitments to care. Now, after the year 210 a week, 80% commitment to care, 50% increase in collections, $20,000, and he got all that. Blew up, over 200, increases collection by 50%. So what's so awesome when you get into a leader, you go into the boot camps, you say, oh my God, if this person can do it, I can do it. What about that belief system? See, they were stuck, but what did they do? They modeled. They modeled not only other people, they modeled the system, and they went like this is the easiest thing. Now, what's secret number 3? Here we go, secret number 3. Okay, what is it? We've done what we've been taught. See, what's secret number one? Multiple agreements. What's secret number two? Let's clear our own beliefs. What's secret number three? We've done what we've been taught. Now, what's that mean? Well, let's look at what coaching groups have done. Coaching, and I ran into this. I had 4 coaching groups. Okay, for 11 years, 4 groups. Finally, I was tired of doing it the hard way. I went outside of coaching. What's the hard way? Give them what they want and then sell it and then teach them what they need. What's that mean? Well, let's talk about your pain. And then once you're in the program, then let's give you what you need and talk about healthcare. Here's the problem. When we look at all human behavior, people come in, they're in pain, their body feels pain. You're talking about, let's start you off with pain care. Even if you talk about health problems, but you focus on pain, let's just get you started. You just neuro-emotionally wired them for a decision that's already reinforced with pain care. You reinforced a subconscious behavior. So when you look at, give them what they want pain care. Try and teach them what they need. The majority of people are not going to go backwards. That's totally against human behavior. Now, how are we taught to do this? Find out how their pain is affecting their life. So, Mrs. Jones, how is your pain affecting life? Oh my God, now you're really associating an emotion. Not only the physical part of their body, but how they feel emotionally associating with their pain. Oh my God, I can't pick up my kids. I don't feel like a good mom. What's that mean? As soon as they can pick up their kids, oh my God, I feel amazing. Doc, you're the best. I'm going to come back when my back hurts. That totally goes against all human behavior for lifelong care. So here's the problem. There's a massive incongruency. The principle of chiropractic says lifetime care. Coaching groups have taught us to give them what they want, then teach them what they need. They've taught us this is sales, right? Find their emotional hook. That's sales. Find their emotional hook on their immediate problem. How is it affecting your pain? We're supporting a neuro-emotional pattern that is totally against all human behavior research on long-term change of behavior. Isn't that amazing? Why are we at 4.2%? Because you've done what you've been taught. It's not your fault. The problem is it goes totally against human behavior for long-term change. Really, it does. Now, if you look at Tony Robbins taking people across 2,000-degree colds, UPW, right, unleash power within, he doesn't say, I want you to find out how your pain and how you're suffering and how your emotional problem is affecting your life. Okay, now, by the way, walk across fire. Well, you better have a whole team of about 1,000 attorneys because that'd be a whole lot of lawsuits. That's not what he does. How does he get people across fire? Because I went to UPW specifically to study that, to find out how do we get patients to walk across fire to want to change their life. Okay, so what else have we done? We give them a choice. Well, Mrs. Jones, you can choose pain care, but also this is really your best choice. The problem is they're neuro-emotionally wired for pain already. And so when you give them a choice, they will pick it. Some people will choose it just because you gave that to them. Because what did you do? You already put them in the subconscious neuro-emotional pattern. You gave them and put them in that pattern that they're already in, and you neuro-emotionally supported it. Now, I'm not saying every patient has a choice. I'm not saying don't give them a choice. But if you look at the research of spinal correction, hey, man, you lose a curve in your neck below 30 degrees, you have neck pain. 20 degrees or below, you have chronic pain. Your low back curve, sagittal curve, lumbar lordosis, 35 degrees or below, you have low back pain. So even if you're focused on pain, full correction. The problem is human behavior says everybody's used to living with pain. That's not a motivator. So when you give them a choice to be healthy. Do they want to be healthy? Now, when your pre-consult gets multiple agreements, when your consult gets multiple agreements on health, when your exam say they have a full spine problem, I don't want to be like this anymore. You don't have to give them a choice because they want to choose health. So everything we've done that we've been taught is totally against human behavior research. So here's the deal, man. It's not your fault. You've done what you've been taught. You've been paid thousands of dollars, but you're also getting the result of what you're doing. So did you know, in a highly emotional condition, what you do and say on day one is the foundation for all their future decisions, because they're in a highly emotional state and you're emotionally wiring them. And people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. They buy what they want. If they bought what they needed, there wouldn't be any Ferraris. You wouldn't have the mortgage payment that you do. You wouldn't be driving the car that you do. You wouldn't have the clinic that you do. You know what I mean? People buy what they want. When you make them want pain relief, that's what they buy. You wire it into them. They don't buy what they need. So you have to change the language. We don't have to do anything, but if you change the language pattern, find out what they want, you're going to find out they want something bigger. More and more Americans are paying more money out of pocket every year for healthcare. They just don't know that you're doing it because we've done what we've taught, and we're operating according to our beliefs. So here's a guy, Tim Radcliffe. I talked to him for 3 years. Had a coach. His coach says, no, downsize. Yeah, this big vision. I tell him, you know what? I'll help you reach your vision. He's already making 1.2 million a year, seeing 325, 350 a week. Here's a guy already successful, but he wanted to create something much bigger, right? So he joins Elite, spends $20,000. He grows 50% in 6 months. 50%. So he did grow his 30% in 3 months, but his whole practice grew. He went from 350 to over 500 in his first 6 months. He doubled his income. So he went from 1.2 million to 2.2 million in the first year. So how far did $20,000 get him? Got him another million. Now you can think, oh my God, see, this is the 4-minute mile. You know what I mean? Of course, not everybody goes up a million. I've had more than one. There's been a handful, but most people are 200 to 400,000 a year. Doubles income. Clinic runs without him. 15,000 square foot clinic, 20 plus employees. So if we can show a guy how to go from 350 a week, from 1.2 to 500, 700 a week, full CBP, 15,000 square feet, 20 plus team members, do you think we can help you? What's the next one? Joe and Pilar Labriola started at 80 a week. Now they're over 250 a week. They belong to another management group. What do the management group say? Market. Oh, then they'd burn out, right? Then market. And then they would burn out. Market, and then they burn out. So what eventually happens? It goes down. They join Elite. Boom. All the stats go straight up. They went from 80 a week now to 250 a week. They had their biggest every a month ago in March, I believe it was, in March or April, record-breaking month than they've ever had in all their history. Record-breaking month. They're on a track. They went from struggling financially, paying their bills and stressed, into they're going to do over $1 million a year in the next year. How's that happen? Change beliefs. They came from a system and went from marketing into a system that changes beliefs. They went from 80 a week. They blew through 250 a week. They're on their way to 300. Went from struggling to pay their bills. They're going to make over $1 million in the next year. Dustin Taylor, everybody knows him on the CBP Facebook page. Brought his whole team, joined Elite, went to a boot camp, spent $20,000. Income collections went up $450,000. 20,000 led to 450,000. Why? He learned how to change beliefs, learned how to empower his team. Teams runs his practice. He's also an elite coach. Now, did you get that? So the question is, what's the new opportunity? It's creating Chiropractic Believers Patient Management Program. My question to you is, if you can increase your patient commitment to care 30 to 50%, if you could know with confidence that you could create 8 out of 10 fully corrective care patients that will pay you whatever your fees are, and have 8 out of 10 of those go into lifetime care, would that fulfill your purpose on a higher level? Now, what's the new opportunity? First of all, it's one boot camp for you and your team. Our next boot camp is in Atlanta. It's July 20th to the 22nd. That's boot camp 1. Boot camp 2 is August 24 to 26. Now, what do you get? Not only do you get attendance to the boot camp for a team, you get all day 1, day 2 online, all the audio training, all the video training, not only for day 1, day 2, but how to create lifetime patients. Okay, you get all that audio and video training. You also get a script book. Now, if you were to buy that by itself, that would be $1,085 right there. Okay. So you get all that training. Next, you get unlimited one-on-one coaching with me. What's that mean? I'm going to take you and your team by the hand, and I'm going to show you how to change belief systems, not only in your team, but in your patients. And I'm going to help you implement this system. Now, what's that mean? You can get unlimited 30-minute phone calls for you and your team. You can call me anytime. I had a guy just joined this program from CBP New Jersey, Gary, and he calls up. I pick up the phone. Hey, Gary, how can I help you? So number one, a lot of times, just call me. I'm ready. Some people like Dr. Fred, I have an objection. Man, this person's coming in for a report of findings in an hour. What do I say? I tell them what to say. An hour and a half later, I get a phone call. Man, they committed. They're going to the workshop, and they already want to refer their spouse. How valuable is that on a phone call? You can have as many 30-minute phone calls. Now, in the elite coaching system, one-on-one coaching with me to help guide you and your team per month is $1,500 to $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000. So not only you get the audio training, you get the boot camp, you get unlimited one-on-one coaching. So what's 1,500? We'll take the lower number, 1,500 times 6. That's $9,000. So far, we have $1,085, and then we have $9,000 for one-on-one coaching. Then we have calls to action. We're starting a 5 teleconference series that's all mindset training, clearing beliefs on your team, on you and your team. It's given by Dustin Taylor. He's one of the coaches. They're all taped. It's called Calls to Action, 5 teleconference training systems to change your belief systems. How cool is that? Man, mindset training and leadership. That's worth $297. Okay, there'll be tapes. You have your own library. Then get this. In 2 weeks, we're starting a Creating Chiropractic Believers 8 webinar series library. So 8 weeks on 8 Thursdays, I'm going to take pieces from the boot camp to show you how to change belief systems. And that's going to be 8 webinars. They're going to be like this, except they're going to have different things. We're going to expand on them. We're going to show you how to change beliefs. So even before you get there and after you get there, you're going to have a changing belief systems library of 8 1-hour, probably 45-minute webinars. They're going to show you how to change beliefs. It's advanced communication taken straight from the boot camps. That's a $397 value. So far, we have another $300, another $400. That's $700 plus $1,085 plus $9,000. Then we're going to give you a podcast. Now, Chris and Lauren DiCarlo, they created 311 lifetime patients in the last year and a half. We do an interview, 3 secrets to creating lifetime patients. Now, we sent this out. People that invested in this program, I've already gotten calls on how that's already changed lifetime patients. Next, we're going to give you a teleconference that Chris did. It's on the Elite Coaching Teleconference. We have teleconferences every week. I'm pulling this out of the coaching program, and he's going to show you connection before correction. He's going to teach you how to make that connection, how to change belief systems, how to do that right off the bat so you can change belief systems and move people into care. That comes right out of the coaching system. That's priceless. So what do we have? That's the total of $10,779. So $11,000. And that can easily give, in fact, we pretty much guaranteed give you over $110,000. But guess what? You don't have to do that. Your investment is $38.47. That's it. So you get all that for $38.47. You want to change belief systems? If you do that and you increase 30 to 50%, that's $38.47. So here's what I'd like you to do. Right now, as we speak, you can go to your email and there's an email, and it's going to show you a green tab, $38.47 now. Go click on that tab. It's going to take you to PayPal and invest $38.47. And what we're going to do, then we're going to call you. We're going to start giving you all this stuff. We're going to start coaching you, and you're going to see change immediately. Now, I was talking about that guy, Gary from New York. He called me last week. All he did was get the first script down. Not only did he call me, get me on the phone, he called me to thank me because all he did was get the first script, pre-consultation, 14 agreements, and he already had 2 people that were ready to invest in care on day 1. He paid for the $38.47 in the first week back. Implemented the first 3.5 minutes already covered his whole investment. Hasn't even been to the boot camp yet. Hasn't even implemented the consultation. Thank you, brother. That was a great testimonial, and we see this all the time. You just plug in the scripts. You get multiple agreements. You plug in 5 steps. You're going to see your practice grow 20% before you even get there. You're going to make that investment back so fast. Would 3847 be worth $110,000, $111,000? Is that a good investment? Now, and again, the first boot camp, July 20th, 22nd, be going to your email now. Minimize this, go to your email, invest. You're ready to make a move. You're ready to fulfill your practice on a higher level. We guarantee the results. Okay, then we'll call you tomorrow and we'll give you the details. Now, I want to give you one last testimonial. I got permission from Dr. Keith Jassy to tell you this. I've known Keith for a number of years. I think it's been about 5 years, and he's been battling leukemia. Now he's finally healing. Thank you. The principle of chiropractic has made such a big difference. And so what he wanted was, obviously, he wants to change his life. He's healing now. You know, his son's a chiropractor, wants to take over. He's been to multiple other coaching groups, right? Invested tens of thousands of dollars, didn't get what he wanted. What he got was everything that you heard: 30% commitment, right? 40 PVA. He's successful, but it's not fulfilling. Wants his son to be great. So he signs up October 2017. He made his whole investment back by December 2017. Calls me January. His monthly collections are already up over $10,000 a month. So $20,000 investment, he's already made it back in 60 days. So yours is 3847. Here's people that make it back in 60 days with $20,000. He's now in January, he was on track to do 120,000, but that's not even his first year. He has till October. He's going to make over $200,000 more with a $20,000 investment. You can begin with 3847. Here's the most important part. And for this, Keith, I love and appreciate you because him and his team are committed. His son Justin's committed. Keith takes vacations. His cancer is healing. He has more hope than ever. His son runs his practice. He can leave his son, who's right out of school. Justin, you're doing an amazing job. Runs his practice. And now Keith has freedom and confidence. His son has more confidence. His son is growing into a great leader. Right out of school now is leading the team with, I think they're about to bust through 300 a week. They're hitting all-time highs in collections, all-time highs. And here's a guy that has an opportunity post-cancer to live a great life. Keith and Justin, we love you. Thank you. Keith also told me to tell you that if anybody wants to call him, that you can talk to him and I'll give you his number. Now, for anybody that has questions, then I just want you to email me. Here's my email: Dr. Fred, DRFRED 1, the number 1, at MSN.com. Dr. Fred 1 at MSN.com. Here's all you have to say: I have a question. So go, if you have a question, then go to your email right now, DRFRED1 at MSN.com, right? I have a question, and then write down the best phone number to reach you. Put clinic and cell. Just put office and cell. I have a question, DRFRED1 at MSN.com, or you can call me at 949, write this down, 949-791-2986. 949-791-2986. And call me, and then call me tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. I think it's the 17th. Give me a call. Send us an email. Hey, here's the thing, gang, but you guys know this. It's time to make a must decision. If you want 3 to 5 more, just go do it. If you do it, I promise you, you'll make it. I am totally 1,000% committed. We in the elite team are committed. It will be the best investment you've ever made in chiropractic. So that's up to you. You know, are you successful or are you fulfilled? I'm not going to tell you what to do. All I'm going to tell you is the system works. And we have more people we can line up that will tell you the truth. So I appreciate you taking the time and being here. You learn how to change people's belief systems. Then you learn how to change the way they live their life. Okay, gang, love you. You will get this recording, and please send this out to as many people as possible. We want to make a big impact. We want to go from 14% to 24%. We want to go from 4.2 to get well over the tipping point of patients that believe in chiropractic and can spread this message for us. Before they believe it, we have to believe it, get through our limiting beliefs, teach them how to believe it. Let's get connection before correction, and let's make an impact. And I believe together we can make a massive, massive change. And we don't have to wait another 123 years. Let's do it right now. I love you guys. I love your purpose. I love your conviction. I'm really looking forward to calling you tomorrow and Friday and making that connection and seeing your email. So thank you. Love you guys. And we'll see you soon.